up, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Yee podcast. It's April 14th, and we are back.
And I'm in the corner. I got kicked out of my spot.
By Tyler. Why'd you kick him out of his spot?
I don't know. I just felt like sitting here today.
So we said early on that that the podcast was not going to be, it was going to be fluid. If Parker's gone 1 week, there's no reason we shouldn't still tape, or if Tyler's gone or if I'm gone or whatever. So we're going to have people jump in and out all the time. You'll for the most part see the same group, but it'll change a little bit. So today we're actually going to...
For you, we need you here.
Okay, I guess you need me. Speaking of which, we have Ben in this corner over here, and we've got Brian in this corner over here. And a lot of people, whenever we stopped doing the Yee podcast, asked where it went, if we were stopping forever, because we only did like 4 or 5 episodes, I think. We're not stopping. We're starting it back consistently, weekly, every Wednesday. This will release. By the time you do your morning drive in the morning on Wednesday, it'll be out. And the reason that we stopped is because Brian hadn't moved here yet, and neither had Ben, and so it was kind of hard to get consistency. But now they're both in office.
We feel like a real company now.
Not yet.
So it's not just Hayden and I.
We need the neon sign. So for people that are watching this on YouTube, let us know what color sign, neon sign we should get. We're thinking like a yellow or a blue.
Yeah, it's going to replace this metal sign right here. So it'll really, really pop. But yeah, so Parker was saying we're kind of feeling like a real company because for the longest time it's been, Tyler's always been here, of course, and is over the brand as a co-founder. And then it's been Parker and I kind of in the trenches doing the day-to-day stuff. And within a matter of like 6 months now on the management side, we have Ben and we have Brian. So Ben's going to help me with marketing, everything marketing. And so content, we're going to start an influencer program, ambassadors, all kinds of different stuff. So everybody that asks about that stuff, stay tuned. And then Brian is everything video and also helps with the content. So anything that you've seen in the last 6 months that has been video that you say, dang, that's really well done. Well, that's Brian. So yeah, we're excited to get more people in here.
And you'll see all the socials start to ramp up now. If you've noticed in the last couple of weeks, we're going to be posting a lot more. That's all Ben who's going to be helping us out. So
yeah, if you have any ideas of like different content that we can do, like this is a brand that was started by trying to listen to what you guys want and what you guys enjoy, whether that be like a video series or any kind of thing that you think we could pull off. It may not always be the best, but we'll try at it, you know. So today we're going to talk a little bit about live music. We actually have on 2 guests. We have Robert and Terran, who are both on the management team over at Billy Bob's. Billy Bob's is in Fort Worth, Texas. If you've never been, it's insane. It's dubbed as the world's largest honky tonk, and it is a place to see. If you ever get the chance, you got to go to Fort Worth. They're kind of the leaders right now in the industry, wouldn't you say, in the live music industry of bringing everything back?
Yeah. They've been doing it, did you say 40 years?
I feel like 81 was the first year. It was definitely in the 80s. I think they've been around since 1981 because they're having their 40th year anniversary, and we talk about that a little bit. But
yeah, they're the standard for all large venues, any size venue across the country for sure.
does that stand out in your mind, Tyler? I feel like for those that don't know, like in Texas, when you're an artist, the first time you get to play Billy Bob's, like that's a big deal. You probably remember the first time y'all got to play it because for those that don't know, in the green room, in the back room at Billy Bob's, they have an allotted square for the artist's name, and then everybody in the band and management gets to sign that wall, and that's like a big deal in Texas. Do you remember like the date that happened?
I probably should, and I'll ask Robert and look. But Granger had been touring a long time before we played Billy Bob's, and it was kind of a mutual. You know, the venue doesn't necessarily need or want to book you until the artist is ready. And same thing with us. We didn't want to play Billy Bob's until we knew we were going to have a lot of people there, right? So it took us, you know, when we finally felt like we were probably ready, it probably took us another year or 2 to be like, all right, let's go do this.
yeah, so exciting conversation with them. I think that there's a lot of tidbits in there that everyone will enjoy. A couple things that we've got coming up this week. So if you're listening to this Wednesday, April 14th, in 2 days, we have Yee Yee Day. And why don't you guys? Well, Yee Yee Day, it's its second year officially. Why don't you, Parker, explain a little bit what Yee Yee Day is, what we commemorate, kind of what Yee stands for, and what the day is based on, and then kind of what we've got planned for this Friday.
Yeah, I'll actually have Tyler. Why don't you explain it, because you came up with the entire thing. Basically, I just made the products.
Yeah, well, so Yee Yee started in 2011 on our very first Earl Dibbles video that went viral, where Earl said Yee Yee in the video. And then so ever since that date, we've been trying to catch up to what we created. And in 2015, in April 16th or 17th, somewhere around there, Yee Yee officially was incorporated as an LLC, as an official business, trademarked under the state and all that kind of stuff. And so the last year we decided to do, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, it's the 5-year technically anniversary. Mm-hmm. Let's celebrate everything Yee Yee, call it Yee Yee Day, and do a big product launch. So last year was the first year, 2020, right? Mm-hmm. April 2020. I guess it was during COVID, but yeah. So it was just a big product launch. We didn't invite anybody or that sort of thing. But this year we are inviting a bunch of our friends and influencers in the outdoor lifestyle space. If you guys have seen the Holler music video, it's a bunch of those people that were in that video. And we'll see them here in 2 days on Friday. And it's basically going to be a ton of content creation. We'll be filming a lot. There's going to be probably 50 or 60 people. We're going to have catering from Torchy's Tacos for lunch, Black's Barbecue for dinner. We're bringing in a fish tank. Both of our ponds are dry. So we're getting creative, and we're bringing in an above ground fishing tank, 2,500 gallons that we're filling with water from a fire truck, and then putting bass in there and fishing for the bass. So that's going to be fun content that you guys are going to see. We're going to have a lot of UTVs, ATVs from Can-Am is bringing some out here. One of them is going to be a custom Yee Yee, so I'm excited to see that. And then obviously shooting a lot of guns and just hanging out and having a good time. Yeah.
And then on the store side, we're going to have like 15 to 20 products, some of which have been released before that people have been wanting back for a long time, like the multicam hat, the floral hat, and then a few new men's and women's products too. This hat's going to release just a few cool things that we've never done before, and we're not going to push it like insanely hard. It's just going to be something like small and fun, since we just had our spring launch and then we're going to have the summer launch in June. It's just something cool to bring back some old stuff that hasn't been in the store in a while, and then introduce like a few new products too. So keep it fresh.
And for those listening and saying, wow, that sounds fun, I want to be there, every year we plan on this to be bigger and bigger. And this year there was some radio giveaways where radio winners called in and tried to get a chance. So I think we're flying in one radio winner from Oklahoma City, and then another one from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So yeah, and so for you guys wanting to come, we're going to have opportunities. Probably not this one because it's in 2 days, but yeah, we'll think of something creative and fly down some fans for sure for the next one.
Yeah, the farm is such a mystical place. So many people want to come here. So we have to find that perfect balance of like having those events here and there, whether it was the truck giveaway in December or something like this in the future. And then also remembering that this is a place of work and that we're trying to get a job done here as well, and that we're trying to get your packages out to you. So we can't be messing around all the time. Cool. So that's Yee Yee Day. Man, if you've seen our socials the last few days, you would know that Tik Tokers, man, Tik Tokers right now are just crazy. I feel like we need to talk about this because everybody's been asking, but and Ben doesn't have a mic for this episode. Maybe next time we can talk about that. But our socials have been absolutely overrun with Tik Tokers asking for free stuff. And it was cute at first, and this is me raising the white flag as I run our socials and asking to please stop DMing me asking for free stuff. Have you seen it?
Do you think it's TikTokers Or do you think it's just the age of people on TikTok and then just have nothing better to do but to ask for free stuff?
No, I think it's a TikTok thing. And everyone was getting, when we posted about it, all of our fans that have bought, numerous times, they're like the old man yelling at clouds saying, these dang kids, like, they never worked hard for anything. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say that because I think it's a TikTok trend. I don't think it's an age thing. I don't think it's a TikToker thing, even though I just, alluded to that. I think that it's a TikTok trend right now. And it's so funny because we've had a couple other people that manage brands that are in our same genre and have the same values as us and everything. And they hit us up and they're like, dude, everyone's asking us too. And I think everyone's ticked off at us because we're actually giving people numbers. People will say, how many likes for a free Yee Yee hat? And I went through a full day of just saying random numbers, anywhere between 7,000 and 12,000. And now it's just getting out of hand. And all the other companies are mad at us because we are actually responding. And they're like, come on, now we have to respond. So it's funny how that works. I think it's just a trend, though. I'm hoping it'll end soon.
It's not anybody from Instagram. It's just TikTok.
Well, a couple people will say, how many likes on a reel or whatever, but it's always like how many likes on TikTok. It's a whole trend. I looked up.
Yeah, it's just a trend where people will say, I need the boys' help on this one. And so all the boys on TikTok go and like it so that their buddy can get something free.
Is it, like Parker said, is it because it's young kids and they feel entitled, or is it more the platform and TikTok of what it's become?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think it's like an entitlement thing. I don't think it's like a generational thing.
Because people don't necessarily want to post like an Instagram post that gets a certain number of likes that will get them something. But TikTok's just that fun app where it's like people are more likely just post something that they don't necessarily feel like their reputation's on the line. It's just like for fun. So someone can just be like, hey, it's just like something fun to be like, hey, if the boys give me 5,000 likes, then this company will get me something free.
Plus, it's a lot easier from what I've seen on TikTok to gain a huge following overnight for just a normal person that, just a good old boy that's like, I'm going to start a TikTok. And the next day he has 500,000 followers. You can't do that on Instagram at all. But like Parker literally didn't have a TikTok a couple weeks ago, and now he has 300,000 followers because he got one viral video. So that probably has a lot to do with it, where anybody can jump on the platform, go viral, get a ton of followers. And it's kind of like winning the lottery, right? If you don't have that financial literacy and that foundation of what to do with money, it's just going to be gone, right? So it's kind of like you get a lot of views and you came from nothing. It's like, what do I do with this? Give me free stuff. I'm famous now.
That's a tough look for you, Parker.
Yeah.
He just ruined you.
Well, like I said, I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me when I was living in mediocrity and, the average person really that was just, not really doing anything in life.
But I think that what it is that TikTok is a discovery app. It's made to discover. Just because you follow someone doesn't necessarily mean anything. Whereas Instagram, it's building a brand. And then even more so, even more so, YouTube is really building a brand. Like I've always said, if you have 50,000 on YouTube subscribers, I mean, that's better than...
It's a lot harder to
right.
build that.
That's a better than 1 million Instagram followers.
I mean, I just came off the biggest show in the world, The Bachelorette, and didn't get many followers from that. Granted, didn't get much screen time, but Parker just blew up overnight on TikTok, and has more TikTok followers than any of the guys that like won the show with me, It's crazy.
And at the same time, it's not downplaying TikTok, because I'm watching influencers take their mega following on TikTok and turn it into a brand. But I think over the next 2 years, we're going to see who is able to cash in on that virality quickly and just get like those short-term deals, whether it be with doing ads or whatever, and who's going to actually build a brand. And a lot are trying to build a brand, I will say, but I think a lot of people right now, I don't care how many followers you have, are realizing, and we can attest to that, how hard it is to build a lot. What a lot of them are doing is a lifestyle brand, and how hard that is to build. Anyone can sell 10 t-shirts and 10 hats, but do people give a damn about like your message and what you're really creating, you know?
Yeah, and the amount of time that it takes to cultivate that brand as a living, breathing thing, which is what Granger had in Tyler, and then Tyler had in me, and then we had in you, and then as you just build, everything just bottlenecks, and it's like it's hard to be a creator and then also make an A+ quality apparel company. It's like it just takes more time and more manpower. It's tough.
It'll be interesting to see on Yee Yee Day, because we have a bunch of TikTokers coming that have done really well in that space, like 10 or so.
Mm-hmm.
That dynamic between them and then like the guys that have been doing YouTube and have built that, like hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers on that, and kind of all kind of in the same world, but not.
Yeah,
it'll be
like Tratter Gang and then like the OGs of YouTube facing off. That'll be interesting.
Shout out Tratter Gang, by the way.
We'll see. We'll get back to you guys and see if the TikTokers ask for a bunch of free stuff.
Tratter Gang's doing a very good job of building a brand, I will say. Like those guys, they took a couple guys or 4 or 5 guys that are crushing it on their own and all combined, and then they took like this cute, hilarious, viral thing, and now they're like building a brand on it. And it's still in the early steps from what I can tell, but seems like they're crushing. And then a couple things. Everybody's asking about live tour dates with Granger right now. A couple of dates that we have coming up. April 17th, Port O'Connor, Texas. April 22nd.
Which a lot of these probably will be sold out
fair
by
enough.
the time this comes out. So
Yeah. So keep that in mind. April 22nd, Cheyenne, Wyoming. April 23rd, Inman, Kansas. April 24th, Manhattan, Kansas. And April 25th, Sioux Falls. And so if you weren't aware, Tyler is Granger's manager. And so can you talk a little bit about like how hyped you are right now to be getting back out on the road?
yeah, the most exciting thing about these is these are full capacity. 4 out of the 5 are full capacity, no mask shows. So, you know, when COVID happened, everybody, you know, that had a band or did music was like, okay, how can we be creative? Let's do, you know, online shows. Okay, cool. Now there's drive-in shows where people in their car. So that was exciting for like a week, you know? I mean, it's how, you know, when you go from playing huge shows with people packed in, right? That feeling and that emotion that you see in the crowd of them responding, you know, to the music is just unmatched. You just can't compare that to anything. I mean, granted, we were super grateful for some of those shows. You know, it you know, kept the band and crew together. You know, kept their chops up and that sort of thing. But we weren't getting paid anything. Like we were just getting by as far as expenses goes, just to put the diesel in the buses and get to where we were going. Not the online ones, but the drive-ins and the reduced capacity, like greatly reduced capacity shows. And so those were fun just to get together and stuff for a little bit. But then we were like, man, this is just, this kind of sucks.
Right.
So these shows coming up, we're super excited. Like I said, they're full capacity shows and already almost all sold out. So people, the fans are super excited, just like we are, to get back out.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about this, and whenever we talk to the Billy Bob's folks, but I think that we're experiencing what we saw 100 years ago, or 80 years ago, whatever, after Prohibition era, like post-Prohibition era, everyone just wanted to get out and party because they had been cooped up for so long. And so that's why you have, is it the Roaring 20s? Is it the 20s? 40s?
Yeah, it's the 20s, I think. Well, the 20s was like a depression, but
I think it was the 40s.
no, I don't think it's the Roaring 40s.
Can someone fact check that for me? It's the 20s?
Yeah.
Ben's saying it's the 20s.
Yeah. We are in the 20s right now. Someone said that the other day, and that weirded me out. They're like, someone's going to look back and be like, y'all remember that pandemic that was in the 20s? I was like, yeah, I guess in 2080, the 20s are going to seem like a long time ago.
Yeah, when they actually drove places. But I think that we're going to see something similar to post-Prohibition era, whenever everybody had been cooped up for so long, they just wanted to get out. And so we're seeing it with ticket sales. Like ticket sales are through the roof, and I think that everyone is wanting to get out and go see shows and go to festivals and going to restaurants and going to bars and going to live events, whatever it is. I think that everyone's wanting to get out right now.
Yeah, I think I'm a big, huge advocate on the front lines for music saves lives. You know, people say stay at home, it saves lives. Like I get that, but people being cooped up for a year Like there's all kinds of mental awareness and anxiety and depression and stuff that hits in. So not only is it going to be good to just get out, but music speaks to the soul and saves people. That's my belief, seeing it firsthand, what it can do to people, in the crowd that are dealing with something, and then seeing Granger up there singing and the stuff that he's had to deal with. He's just an advocate, flying the flag of like, hey, live life to the fullest.
Yeah, I think that there's also, like, from what we've been talking with agents and with different management and different artists, I think there's this general consensus that late July, mid-July, sometime in July, like, is kind of whenever all these artists and managers and agents are looking at their routing, and then they're like, all right, that's whenever we're kind of going to start back. And so, which is great because you can attest to this, but so much, like, everyone thinks that artists get paid a lot more than they do, I think. And artists get that last paycheck. Like they're paying every single person on their team, which is a lot more behind the scenes people than you realize. And so, like, a lot of artists aren't making as much money, and a lot of times where they do make their money touring is those summer festivals. Like the summer festivals, just, they tend to do better, and those big lineups. It's also another chance to be in front of 25,000 people or 20,000 people whenever you're typically playing, clubs or bars or, small theaters or whatever the case is. So I think it's great that this is about the time that we're getting back, as festival and fair season is kind of starting to get underway.
Yeah, especially Granger. I mean, Granger is, I've never seen anybody like him where he will die for his band and crew, and he's always the last to get paid if he gets paid anything. Mm-hmm. Like, after rolling down the highways and 2 buses and a semi and the production, right? All the costs that are associated with putting a show and tour together is a lot of money. And then, the salaries, Granger was one of the only artists that I know of in the entire industry that kept his entire band and crew on salary through everything. Everybody, when this happened, let everybody go. And he was the last one because, he didn't get paid. He paid his guys. So, but that's a testament to him and the guys sticking with him, and us being able to come back now when we can after a year of him being loyal to them and them returning the favor and being there when we're about to kick up this month.
Yeah, a lot of people in the industry went and got other jobs. Like, that's the sad reality. Whether they're in the band, whether they're a roadie, whether they're taking your ticket at the front of a venue, everywhere in the industry, like, the unfortunate thing, I think that everybody's wanting to come back, but what's going to take a little bit, I was thinking about this the other day, what's going to take a little bit is hiring. And a lot of those people went out and found other jobs. If they had other skills, they went and did that. Or they went and found other work or whatever it may be like that. It's important to remember those people too. I wrote down something, some ways that you can support artists. And I guess we'll kind of finish with this. But some ways that you can support artists as shows come back. Don't ask for the guest list. If you know someone, just pay for a ticket for a show. It means more to everyone right now just to pay your dang ticket. Support local music as well. There's all these big acts going to be coming through in the next 12 months, but make sure to go to that local dive bar and pay the $5 cover and go support that person that lives down the road. Don't ask for free drinks at the bar. A lot of your bartenders haven't had jobs either for the last however long, or they've been struggling or whatever. So pay for your drink. Tip the bartenders as well. And then buy merch. Like, merch sales help so much. And like what we were just talking about, a lot of these shows may not pay a ton of money, and a lot of times artists are losing money on shows. And so whenever you're able to buy merch, that's huge for the artist, because not only is that extra income, but you're now a walking billboard. And if you really believe in that artist and what they're creating and their brand and what they have to say, then you're walking everywhere on the street wearing that shirt, and that just helps. That helps go along.
What a lot of people don't realize is if they go to a show and they see it sold out and packed 2,000 people or whatever it is, they're like, oh man, maybe they're thinking Granger's loaded, like, it's sold out. Ticket prices were $20, like. But it's just not the truth. The truth is, a lot of those shows, after paying all our expenses, we're either breaking even or losing money. But we're going out there just because we love to tour. It's what we do. We love to see the fans and play music for them. and sometimes the merch pays more than what the venue is paying us, and allows us to keep going for sure. It happens a lot.
Yeah, good talk. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then whenever we come back, we're going to be interviewing Robert and Terran from the Billy Bob's team. I think y'all are really going to like this interview. We're going to talk all about the future of live music and where we're headed. We now welcome on our favorite guest of all time. Well, two favorite guests. We've got Robert Gallagher and we've got Terran. And both of them are on the management team over at Billy Bob's, the world's largest honky tonk up in Fort Worth. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, y'all.
So I've known both of y'all for a little while now, in different capacities. And I think that both of you are just so great at what you do. And obviously Granger's played Billy Bob's a million times, and it's always a joy whenever we see a Billy Bob's date come up on the tour schedule, and knowing that we're gonna get to work with you guys again, and see you guys and take some shots in the back room with Robert at Billy Bob's.
Gotta take a shot. Early today
though. So you guys have been, I'm guessing, preparing for the 40-year anniversary. I guess that happened a couple weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we celebrated our 40th anniversary on April 1st. Yeah, it's been many months in the making. I think that our talent buyer actually booked the act for that date 2 years ago. So
wow,
we've been prepping for quite some time now. Robert's been prepping since what, 1989?
Yeah, long time, 88.
So was the act that you guys had for the 40th year anniversary, was that the Gatlin Brothers?
Yeah.
It was. Gatlin Brothers, 40 years to the day after they performed on opening night. I was here.
Oh, wow.
So, not as an employee, but as VIP member number 416.
Golly. So you were there that first night, and then now you're here 40 years later working with the exact same band.
Yes, absolutely.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Great weekend with Hank, too. They blew the doors off.
And
Yeah, y'all just had Hank Williams Jr. last week, which is insane. Tell me how that went.
Well, he killed it on Friday night. I didn't think it'd get any better than Friday night, but Saturday night, Kid Rock and Miranda Lambert showed up and joined him on stage, and for 2 or 3 songs.
And his son Sam, who
yeah,
is an
his
artist.
son Sam. He brought his son
also.
Sam out, who's a good singer also. Anyway, it was just, I've never heard a crowd that loud or that long. It was amazing.
Was that a
Just the
surprise?
energy in the room.
Did anybody know
Yeah.
they were coming out?
Kind of.
Kind of.
But I mean, it was, you know, those sections always change in a minute, you know.
Yeah.
Robert knew, but it was a surprise for those of us in the audience who are just sitting there vibing to Hank, and then all of a sudden you look up and like, there's Kid Rock, and then you blink and there's Miranda Lambert. Just like, holy.
What
cow.
songs did they sing?
He sang that what is it? It's Summertime,
his song.
and then they all sang Family Tradition together, which was
Wow.
super
A long
special.
version of Family Tradition. They traded verses back and forth for an extra long version.
Did
Golly.
Hank send them a jet, Miranda and Kid Rock?
Kid Rock had a jet.
He had his jet.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know,
He pulled up in the stockyards.
Hank flew in also separately, you know, a couple of days before, and then right back out after the show.
Yeah.
Does whenever you find out, I'm guessing like day of show, that someone of that magnitude is coming, does that change event security? Does that change event ops? Like, how does that work on y'all's end?
Doesn't change a lot, you know. I got guys out back anyway, so we just alert everybody. Our staff, especially, I mean, the entire staff is incredible, and nobody. They treat him just like anybody else. Welcomed him when they got out of their limo and escorted him backstage. And backstage staff just took care of him. He was gracious. He ordered 1 beer from our backstage waitress Daphne and said, thank you very much, and handed her $100 bill. So,
Wow.
Nice.
and then he went and visited with team ropers next door out back and talked to them 20 minutes or so. And then one of them gave him a rope, and he would not lay it down. He carried it the rest of the evening. That was his prized possession for the weekend.
Souvenir.
That's the most Billy Bob's
Best.
souvenir ever, by the way.
For the
Yes.
listeners that don't know Billy Bob's, there's a reason
Billy
Kid
Bob's
Rock
too.
and Miranda show up. It's because Billy Bob's is the best venue in the world. I mean, anytime we come, we're treated like family, and it's pretty much our favorite place to play. And we've played all over the country and even the world, Australia and Canada, and nobody does it like you guys. And so there's a reason that y'all been
Well,
doing
that's
this
a
for 40 years.
Our entire staff, from top to bottom, front end of the building to the back, are exactly the same way. We just want artists to be happy and come back.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the special things. We did a few 40th anniversary interviews with artists. And one of the questions we asked was like, what makes playing Billy Bob so special? And everybody said, Robert Gallagher treats everyone like family. Like, we know that when we show up, we're going to see his smiling face, and he's going to have a monkey shot ready for us. And it's going to feel like we're in a family environment. And I think, that's
Yeah,
really special.
It was real comfy. It was really comfortable when they were here. They enjoyed it too. Miranda, to show up just a week or so before her first triple sellout, she sold out 5 shows coming up. She was the first gal to sell back to back, first any artist to sell back to back sellout, and the very first to sell 5 nights sellout.
Yeah, that's insane. Whenever I saw that y'all kept adding dates. So in this post touring COVID time, that kind of transitions into the next question is, are you guys seeing that because there's all like artist A may play the bar scene, and then artist B may play the small club scene, and all the way up until stadiums. Are you guys seeing that whenever you're reaching out and trying to get availabilities on artists and working with different agencies, are you seeing a shift right now that you're able to get artists that 18 months ago may have previously, I know Billy Bob's is Billy Bob's, but they may be playing arenas. They may be playing 10,000 cap rooms or whatever that size is. Are you guys seeing that your artist availabilities is opening up a little bit compared to a year and a half ago?
Absolutely. So our general manager, Marty Travis, and Gary Ozer, outside talent buyer, they've been working hard to get these big acts that cannot play. There's no arenas open.
Right.
So offer them multi-nights. In some cases, the tickets are a little higher than normal because their entourage is numerous buses. 25. Hank had 25 people in his crew, so expenses. But people haven't been hesitant to purchase those high-dollar tickets because it's so much easier to see them here, even if you have to pick one of those 5 nights, than to fight a crowd and go see them with 16,000 at an arena.
Right.
And there's something special about kind of quote unquote intimate performance. I mean, our max cap right now is 50% of our normal capacity. So 3,000 people versus 15,000, you really feel like you're at an intimate show. I mean, just sitting in the crowd for Hank Williams Jr., I was like, this is amazing. Like, he is, 50 feet in front of me on stage right now, and I'm not going to see that anywhere else. So definitely something special about being able to see him in a smaller venue.
And listen, Marty and Gary, they're not letting up. They got feelers out there, all kinds of surprises coming up.
Oh yeah.
Because that tour, those big tours, they're probably not going to hit the ground again until late summer or even fall or even late fall. So hopefully we'll get a bunch more big surprises just like that.
That's what I was going to ask. Besides Hank, are there any superstars? You don't have to name names, but any of the George Strait, Garth Brooks caliber that you guys have had interest in their parties reaching out?
I mean, we're looking at a rock and roll legend that we just got confirmed that we'll be announcing probably within the next couple of weeks. That's going to be, just another monster for us.
I'm not sure that we'll see the Garths or the George Straits. I mean, we never say never around here, but I'm not sure we'll see them because their revenue stream has never been based on touring anyway for the last 20 years or so.
Mhm.
George's revenue stream, it hadn't changed much this year because of COVID. And he'll go back, you know, usually he'll do his few shows in Vegas, and that's about it. So I don't really expect him to come, but
Well, and
again, never
he's
say
got
never.
his own tequila line now, so
Right. Right. So,
I mean,
you know,
it's been the silver lining of COVID though, to be able to see these artists that normally would have outgrown Billy Bob's again. That's,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
kind of like I was saying earlier, if there's any place that those big artists are going to go, Billy Bob's is the
Mhm.
place to go. Thanks to you guys and what y'all built.
thanks, Robert.
Are we done?
so that's on the obviously it seems like on the band side of things, depending on how large you are, what your following is, where your revenue's coming in from, it seems like a lot of people, especially in that middle ground, artists are trying to get back out there. What have you guys seen from the consumer side? Like, what are people trying to get to concerts as soon as they can? And let me preface this also with it is the country realm, so there's a little bit of that, how people think, and it's also Texas, and Texas has opened up 100%. So what made you guys want to slowly transition? And right now I think you're doing 50%. And what are you seeing from consumers? Like, are they just trying to blow out the doors, trying to get into venues? Like, what are y'all seeing on y'all's end?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing people just ready to be out. They are, you know, they've all been inside for a year. I mean, ish. And they're ready to come back to shows. They're ready to get back out into the world and kind of go back to what would be normal life. We're seeing artists who, you know, normally we wouldn't expect, you know, crazy attendance. Like, they're selling close to our COVID capacity, if not reaching sellouts. And I think that just really says a lot about, you know, the fan base, and especially in country music. Like, people are ready. They are ready to drink some beer and dance and listen to live music. And it's really a light at the end of a very dark COVID tunnel for us to see, from a venue standpoint. Because I mean, we closed our doors for what, almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And it was a really scary time. So to see so much enthusiasm and just the want to get back out there is hallelujah.
Amen.
Yep. And our 3,000 crowd, it's really been nice, even though that's still a big crowd. We'll take it real slow. We won't be back to full capacity till late summer, probably, maybe even later. These shows are working. Ticket prices are up just a little bit, but people are paying them because they want to get out. And we spread the reserves out in the showroom. We took about 800 seats out. People like that right now, so they don't mind paying a couple extra bucks for being a little less crowded in that showroom. So everybody's in. I mean, the city's in, the fans are in, and we are. We'll just slow going from here on.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. So why mess up a good thing?
We're speaking on the artist side with Granger. We're super excited because this month we have 5 shows booked in Wyoming and Kansas and South Dakota, and 4 of the 5 are all full capacity, no masks. And so I was telling Granger, when we go, I might cry going out there, you know, and they're not the 3,000 or 6,000 full capacity like you guys have. You know, they're about the 1,500, 2,000 range, but they're all almost sold out. And so we're super, we can't wait.
That's great. That's great for every artist. You guys coming in, saving us New Year's Eve, 3,000 sold out, max capacity. It's wonderful, you know. And a lot of the artists we see, Miranda hadn't worked in a year and a half. Hank hadn't worked in a year and a half. They were so happy to be back. They rehearsed 2 days before ever coming here. And I expect Miranda's probably going to rehearse somewhere before she comes here, just because they haven't been on the road.
Yeah, it seems like the artists are looking forward to the shows as much as we are, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's just all it is a complete blessing, you know, and never taking another show for granted, because, y'all as well as us, when you're on the road as many dates of the year that we are, it almost becomes somewhat of a grind. What city are we flying into next and where the bus is picking us up at? But now it's like, man, it's just perspective and just being so grateful and thankful and always reiterating that to the band and crew. And, not that they need it at all, because we're all so excited to get back.
I mean, you just don't realize how much of your life really is, on the road and within the shows. And then something like the pandemic happens, you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is my whole livelihood. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't do this. So, what do you do at that point?
Yeah. My final question about the Hank Williams, a little bit more lighthearted. So the record that I always hear about that's associated with Billy Bob's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron Bingham holds the record for most beers consumed ever on a night at Billy Bob's, correct?
That's Terran. She knows.
Yep. So Hank held it from 1984 till 2014. Wow. And then Bingham beat it by less than 1,000 beers. I want to say it was like 600, but I have to go look at the data. But yeah, Ryan Bingham holds it right now.
I thought y'all were talking about how many the artist consumed. Robert probably holds that record.
Gary Stewart probably holds that record. We
Gary's-
loved Gary. He was a honky tonker, man. But he could knock that beer out too.
Do you think, so here's my question. Do you think if Hank would have come back under normal circumstances, 100% capacity on a Friday or Saturday night, do you think he may have had a chance at that Ron Bingham record this time?
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
We sat out there. We were amazed. We looked at tables, bucket of beer, bucket of beer, bucket of beer, bucket of beer everywhere. It was more a beer crowd than anything, and buckets everywhere.
Hey, Robert, who was that artist? The story, there's so many stories I've heard, but that artist, legendary superstar that cut his set short. And he said, it was probably a lot, but he said, do you know who I am? I'm bleep, bleep, so-and-so. And you said, well, I'm bleep, bleep, Robert Gallagher. Get back up on the stage right now.
That's not exactly what I said. Talk about the killer. He called everybody killer. And the killer short showed us. And I said, Killer, you going back to doing encore? And he said, Killer, the killer doesn't do an encore. And I said, well, the killer might want to tonight, or the killer be giving back thousands of dollars. He went, damn, killer. And he went back out.
That's funny.
I figured a few of the stories we've talked about may not be repeated on this podcast. I told Robert the last time I saw you, I said, you got to write a book. And he said, hell no, I'm not writing a book. I can't talk about any of the things I've seen since 1980s.
Yeah, it's not fair.
I agree. I think that's why people love you so much, is in the artist world.
Terran spent an enormous amount of time the last year preparing our 40th anniversary book. She knows a lot of stories, and she's been doing interviews with people for a solid year to prepare for this 40th anniversary year. So she's got all the stories locked up somewhere. She'll release them as she wants to.
Yeah, the book looked amazing. I'm gonna have to get one. What was that? Sorry.
It's so we didn't get his stories in the book, but we were able to put a lot of his old photos.
Yeah.
So much so that one of our partners over at the Live at Billy Bob's record label was like, you should have just named this book Robert Gallagher and Friends. So
yeah, it's great. When we started saving boxes of photos, there was no computers, there was no scanning. So Terran, when she started working on this project a year ago, she goes, I got to have old photos. And I found 2 or 3 boxes in my storage building. And it was like a gold mine to her. She just went through tons of photos.
There were Johnny Cash photos. The envelope that they were in was still sealed.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What? Where'd this come from?
Yeah, it was great.
Incredible. Well, I've already looked through that book, the video that you guys posted on Billy Bob's, but I'm gonna have to get one the next time we're up there, so we can put it on the coffee table here. One of our favorite venues in the world. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to hear from people that are at the forefront of what the industry coming back and where we're headed as a whole and as a group. I think we're all going to the same place, just trying to figure out how to get there. So it's cool to hear from you guys.
Hey,
Definitely.
thank y'all. Well, I hope to see you both real soon.
Yeah, even
Absolutely.
for a Granger show, still come
Hey,
up and hang out.
Knock on that back door with your laminate. You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. We love you guys.
Bye, guys. Welcome back to the Yee podcast. I've got myself. We got Parker over here in the corner.
Hey, Parker.
Hey guys, how's it going?
He's been banished to the corner for this episode, and then we
I'm
got Tyler.
gonna
over
just
here.
keep bringing up things so that Brian has to switch the camera to me for the YouTube episode.
Yeah, every time he edits.
And then real quick,
we have to do that.
no, that was just for the camera to come to me. Sorry, I'll shut up.
So every time Parker does that, Brian has to then go pull that clip. So it just ends up being a lot more editing. So if you remember, whenever we were doing the Yee podcast a little bit more consistently, we did our fantasy rankings. And so it's a little refresher on the fantasy rankings. We rank something. So we've done worst Valentine's Day gifts. We've done best beers. What was the other one we did? Can you remember?
Super Bowl snacks.
Yeah, best Super Bowl snacks. So
That
basically,
I got roasted for on Instagram.
Yeah, you got roasted on those. So yeah, dude, he had some bad ones.
It's because all the good ones got taken. And
But
no
it's-
one let
You
me.
had the best one.
Well, yeah, because I know
It was
our
like chicken wings.
I know our listeners, man.
Hayden rigs it.
So how it works is we'll start with Tyler, and our topic today is best activities in the spring or best things about the spring. So we're just feeling like perfect right now. It's officially spring. Spring is in the air. So we'll start with Tyler, then we'll go me, Parker, back to Tyler, and if someone picks yours, it's off the board. You can't pick it. So use your picks wisely. So Tyler, with the first pick in the spring activities, best thing about spring's draft, what do you got?
Favorite thing about spring?
Yeah, or like an activity about spring, or just the
Yeah.
best, spring.
So besides the warmer weather, it would have to be the blooming of the greenery, the blooming of the trees and the flowers and that sort of thing. I'm a big nature guy, so that's definitely mine.
He's gonna get roasted on Instagram. I hope we post that.
So make sure,
Tyler, blooming
yeah,
flowers.
make sure whenever we make that graphic, Ben, that Tyler's first pick in the draft was flowers.
I planted some lantana and petunias just recently because it's spring and that's my favorite thing.
Tyler came into everybody's office individually and asked if we wanted to go see his new flower bed on his little windowsill, and everybody said no. I think.
They did. I think Granger would agree with me though on that answer.
Well, I think it's something that most people wouldn't know about you, is that you were very like the same way that I'm interested in quail. I've noticed that over the past 6 months you've become very interested.
I check our trees every day.
Yeah.
And it's not only because of the spring, but we had the snowpocalypse here in Texas where it was the craziest, coldest storm we've ever had, where a week there was ice and under 30 degrees. It was like literally in the single digits. We've never seen that. So I'm anxiously awaiting, like I never have before, to see if all our trees come back. My Palo Verde died, which is an Arizona based
Dang.
desert tree, which was beautiful green bark and like yellow flowers, but that one's gone.
It was just funny because the other day I walked by and Tyler's just standing there with his hands behind his back, like ultimate dad, just staring. And there's 4 trees out here, and he goes, "You think those trees are gonna make it?" I was like, I don't know, man. Like, can you approve this for me?
I just want like validation, like, I kind of know, like, I hope they are, probably not, but I want you to say, yes, they're going to make it.
Yeah, you're right. Even if I don't believe it or have any clue what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've got this pick. The best thing about spring is the extra hour of daylight. So it took a little bit to get used to it.
That's a good one.
Early on, but now I'm like all in. Not eating dinner in the dark. I'm actually eating dinner while it's light out. It's been a little bit harder to go to bed, but I think I'm good now. So the extra hour of daylight all throughout the spring and summer is just clutch. I love it. And yeah, I mean, it's a solid pick.
I'm gonna go with the sun. So in Texas, spring winter is like 40s and 50s highs, which is cold for us. And then late summer in August, it gets to be like 100 to 110, and you just can't even go outside. So like March through May is my favorite time of the year because we get a lot of sunny and 75 to 85 days. And so one of my favorite things is the windows down drive on a spring day in Texas when you got a good song playing and you got the fresh breeze and it's not too hot.
Backroad song playing, right?
Yeah, Granger Smith, go buy the new album out now. No, yeah, that's my thing.
What's cool too is I've noticed, maybe not our demographic and not us particularly, but I think it's cool that all my friends that don't typically listen to country music, like that's not their go-to, that spring weather hits and the windows go down and that's all they listen to all summer. So no longer am I the guy at the party playing country and they're telling me to turn it down. They're asking for Chattahoochee, and they want that country music played all summer, spring, summer. All right, next one, back to you.
What you got?
No, we all went. Now it's back to you.
Spring again?
Granger did this too.
Spring again?
You're gonna be better than Granger. Granger's was rough.
Yeah, you have to pick your
Yeah, you have to
top
pick top
three
three.
favorite
Oh,
things
wow.
about spring.
Can flowers be number one? Trees?
Yeah, your
two?
flower. No. Whenever you said plants, it knocked off bluebonnets. It knocked off everything that grows from the ground. It's now off the list.
Okay, I got one. Spring is the time that whitetail deer drop their antlers. So I love going shed hunting at the ranch because they drop them in. The first one I saw this year, what is today? April. It's April. I saw it like March 1st. I saw that. So that's always exciting for me, and I like just getting out and walking. Again, it has something to do with nature. So
No, that's good. That plays. I didn't realize until like the past couple years that shed hunting is like a huge thing that people do. Like as soon as deer season's done, I know it's turkey season in a lot of places right now, but that's what a lot of people turn to is shed hunting. And it's kind of cool because you have an idea of like, I don't know if you've got high fence or low fence or whatever, but you kind of get the idea of what's in your area. And I feel like that's a cool feeling to find a nice shed and never have seen that deer all season. And it's a little bit of promise for the next season. Okay, mine is one of my favorite things about spring, and I know it's officially spring, is whenever I hear Jim Nance's voice on the Masters. So the Masters just happened this past week. However, we're recording before, so we don't know who won. Brian swears up and down, our video guy, that it's going to be Jordan Spieth, and I wouldn't hate that either, since we're Texas guys and we root for him. But there's something about hearing Jim Nance on a spring day in April, and it's a Sunday. And so what I do when the Masters comes around is all Sunday. It's just 20 minutes of napping, 20 minutes of watching the Masters, 20 minutes of napping, 20 minutes of watching the Masters. And the entire afternoon is just Jim Nance's voice, just that smooth announcing voice. And
With
it
the
just,
piano playing.
yeah,
the
yeah,
Masters.
yeah. Can we insert the Masters sound? Will we get in trouble if we insert that right here? Oh, okay. Well, look up the Masters sound. We're gonna get in trouble if we use the Masters sound, but you probably know of it in your head right now. If you don't, go look it up and then come right back to the podcast. That's whenever I know that spring is officially in the air. Whenever the Masters comes around. What you got, Park?
I like to go lay out by the pool once it's finally warm enough and get some caffeine in me in a book and just lay out for a couple hours.
you're saying I was going to get flack.
Yeah, that
For
could have if you would have just said a
laying
beer.
out.
If you would have just said beer, I think it would.
I mean, I like to get hammered and listen to Hank Williams. That's my favorite thing about spring.
We were talking about because none of us have a pool because we don't live in apartments, but Ben and Brian both just moved into apartments. And so like whenever I was helping Ben move down here from Massachusetts, I was literally just sending him apartments that had the sickest pools. I'm like, where are we going to be sitting this summer? Because we're going to be at Ben's pool all the time. So we were talking about that. And Parker was like, man, I just love a day just with my book and my coffee or like a Red Bull.
We're going to lose so many followers from this podcast. I was thinking about that. Like, everyone's going to see our true colors, and it's like, Tyler, what are y'all's favorite things about spring? Everyone would be like bush light and fishing. It's like beautiful flowers blooming, a nice Sunday afternoon with a book. Like, so lame.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mine's similar to you at the pool, but just with a 6-pack. And I bring the book, but then I never touch the book. You know, you bring the book, but it's like, yeah, this ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, classic.
My mind, as soon as if I have any alcohol in my system, like I'll have a beer before bed and then read. That book, that I'm not reading. Like, I got to read before. That's a good one. All right, last pick for you.
Do y'all have anything that I'm just forgetting about, knowing me and my personality?
I mean,
Honestly,
Spring.
fawns.
no, that's anything with deer is just
That's
like
June. That's summer.
Yeah.
you already kind of.
I mean, Tyler's two favorite things are ranching and whitetail deer.
I really don't have anything else. I mean, I guess I could say
Festival season. With music.
Yeah, but that's more summer. County fairs and festivals and stuff.
It also doesn't have to be just you. Like what would play to the masses? You know, like I mean, there's a few obvious ones, maybe that aren't as interesting to you.
You're probably gonna say March Madness.
It already happened, so no.
Man, I got nothing. I don't know. Like
I'll let you use one of mine. It's got to be one of those top two though. You can't use any others.
weddings.
Dude, don't read it out loud. I may have used that one.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say, the personal development space. I feel like this is an opportunity to continue crushing goals that you set, maybe in January when that all kind of fades away, right? And now we're here into April, and it's like, a reflection on it. Am I still committed to the original goals that I set? Am I still growing? Am I still on track to accomplish all the goals that I set for this year? So I don't know. To me, maybe it's a chance to reflect and go over goals again. And when most people are falling off to put the pedal down and go harder right now.
Yeah, it's a good one. I feel like your vibe and your energy are just rejuvenated whenever spring comes around. Like I've had such a pep in my step here recently, specifically whenever the cold weather turned. And so I've been feeling a little bit better. So I get that for sure. Wow. So mine is going to be nothing similar to that. Mine is one of my favorite things about spring is all of a sudden, whenever it gets to be great weather, you can day drink just because the weather's nice. All of a sudden, you're not an alcoholic. It's because the weather's nice. I saw a thing the other day that said, I'm drinking because I have a condition called, quote, it's because the weather's nice. And I was like, that's so true. Like as soon as it's a Saturday in the spring and the weather's just fantastic, I'm like, well, bad day to be a Busch Light. So, sorry, maybe that's just me feeling that, but
I would say also too, you get tan
yeah, that's true.
on our walks. You take your shirt off because the weather's nice and you get tan. Get rid of that pale winter complexion.
Yeah, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and our drive is so long from the front of the property to the farm. So it's always nice whenever it gets a little bit warmer. Not that I'm like seeking out a tan, but if I'm going to walk for 30 minutes a day, I'm going to try to get a tan,
What was this one? The realization that this may
Well,
not...
that's an honorable mention. That's one of my honorable mentions. We say honorable mentions.
You say that because it doesn't...
I know.
It's an incomplete sentence.
Yeah, I forgot. What do you got? Last one. Round us out.
When the weather gets warm enough to where you have that friend who has a boat and you can take the boat out for a day. Yeah. And play some music on the speakers and either, I guess if it's a fishing boat, fish, you love to do that. Mm-hmm. Or if your buddy has a wakeboard or something, or surf on the back of the boat.
Yeah.
That's always fun. And I can't do any of that stuff.
Right.
I'll fish. We were just talking the other day about how shore fishing just gets kind of stale to me. But I would love to go out on a bass boat sometime. I've never fished out of a actual boat with someone who knows what they're doing
Changes
before,
everything.
and I feel like that would totally rejuvenate my love for fishing. But
we need to go out with lunkers.
Yeah,
he's a professional now. Well, kind of on that, like I know that white bass aren't everywhere, and I figured that out here recently. But there's for about 2 weeks, the white bass will come out of the lakes. And they'll go up into the streams and the rivers and the creeks, and they'll start spawning, and they travel miles. And so that's something that my dad and I have always bonded on, because he's got a couple boats, and so we'll go up in the creeks, and whenever the white bass are running, they, as a lot of you guys know, they don't do any of the things that they typically do. Like their attitude is just all they care about is spawning, and all they care about is food. So I mean, it's nothing. We limited out the other day in less than an hour. I mean, you're casting and hitting, casting, hitting. Like, it's crazy. It's one of the most exhilarating things. And it doesn't take, a lot of people like boo-boo on it because it doesn't take a ton of skill. But I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, I just want to catch fish, and they're good to eat. They're a lot better than like largemouth. But that's some of my favorite part of spring. I feel like I know it's spring whenever the white bass start running. Couple honorable mentions. I can't believe that we missed baseball. It's kind of tough to be it's kind of, I'm not the biggest. We've got Ben over here with a Red Sox jersey. I saw the Red Sox had a walk-off last night. I'm a Rangers fan, so it's really tough to be a Rangers fan right now, but they opened a new ballpark and I can't wait to go.
Parker, there's nothing better. Have you been to Wrigley Field?
Is it the Cubs stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
When we play in Chicago in the spring or summer, man, it is so fun to go to Wrigley Field to a Cubs game, get a couple hot dogs and a beer.
Yeah.
And watch the game. Just that environment, especially just on a pretty day, is so fun.
Yeah, I'm going to Chicago in a couple weeks, and I just realized that they're not playing a home game, so I'm really disappointed because that's on my bucket list, my sports bucket list. Weddings, I know that's kind of weird, but weddings.
Super spreader,
yeah, hand up. No, weddings are awesome in the spring because the weather's nice, and
it's not during football season.
It's not during football season because if you're one of my friends and you have a wedding on a college football Saturday in the fall, don't get mad at me whenever I have the phone out at the table while you're doing your first dance and I'm watching Alabama versus Georgia on a Saturday night. Like, it's just gonna happen. So spring weddings are the best.
Because fall, there's so much going on anyway.
Right.
And so, like, in Texas, it's fall and spring are the two best times of year weather-wise. But fall, there's just so much going on from holidays to
hunting,
football, it's hunting season, yeah. And in the spring, everything kind of slows down.
Yeah. I've also got on here Yee Yee Day. That's in 2 days. Shorts weather. I don't wear shorts a lot, but it is nice to be able to have that option. And then the one that I wish I would have said, but it's one of my top ones. This is about that time of the year where maybe you guys can't relate, but it's that realization. You look in the mirror and you realize that summer is quickly approaching and that you're going to be in swim trunks very soon. And you're like, maybe that summer bod ain't going to happen this year. Maybe it's going to be next year.
And so
then you just eat. Like, you realize that it's not going to happen. This ain't my year. Neither have been the last 4 or 5, but it's the realization that maybe the dad bod is here for another season, and so you just accept that, and you just start crushing bush lights and eating everything in sight. So
sounds like anti-75 hard.
Yeah,
the opposite.
It certainly is. I get my water though. I do get my water. 75 easy. Yeah.
The dad bod is not here to stay. You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, it's weird too because I end every episode with "eat your veggies," and I just realized that is not a good thing to finish the episode after I said that.
So like that video I sent you and Parker the other day of that guy, like your doppelganger, and you're like, "Man, I'm not that handsome," and Parker's like, "You are, but he's just a lot more jacked than you."
That guy was jacked. He looked exactly like me, and he was massive, and it was the saddest thing I've ever watched in my entire life.
5 grams of creatine and a 35-minute workout every day for 2 months away. We all are, in a way.
Yeah. All right.
And
thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna get out of here. We're going to start being more consistent with this. So if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Please like. If you're listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. It's important that for us to keep this going, for us to get more subscribers, for us to get more listeners, all that stuff. So we're going to be consistent with this. We don't ask anything from you guys. All we need is for you to subscribe or follow.
And leave us a review.
Yeah,
and share it with a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, see you guys next week. Eat your veggies.